shoot.
Okay, with the bass.
Hanging out just another night of the week. Or to be more specific, it's a Tuesday Eve. Got some ideas that just might intrigue. You should come on by tonight. We're spilling the beans. Okay.
And we're back.
Spilling the
back.
beans. Let us know if there are any audio issues. I will silence my phone.
Oh,
Hey, Robbie.
Rob is on. Hello, Rob. And I do apologize to some for not sending a link to them last week. But episode 26.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
We last week was our quarter, right?
Yeah.
25
Milestone.
Quarter
yeah.
milestone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are just a little over a year old, and we could not finish our recap. We were recapping all the way up to episode 12 or 13,
Yeah.
Mhm.
right around there, and we had to call it quits because we were having so much fun talking about Pogs. We got a little bit off. We were still talking about Pogs right outside. We can't stop talking about Pogs.
It's the podcast.
It's a podcast. Yeah, we should have a stem off, but we're gonna take it off from episode 12, I guess, or 13.
Yeah. So 12, we talked about, I think, props.
Props.
Like
Oh,
making
right.
props
And we
and
mentioned
stuff.
that last week. Of
Mhm.
course, Kaylee's alter ego, Sally Squats, all kinds of props with clowns and such. And then we went into props with
For like sets and stuff.
set design. I should also mention we're going to have a little of our first segment of our hero.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Where we have come up with each individually a hero or like a character that has like some kind of power or some kind of
In the potentials
Mhm.
crew.
in the potentials crew. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's, I think that the segment could be called the potentials too. I mean, like
Yeah.
a stem off of the comic book idea. So like just that's great. So we'll make sure to leave room for that.
We gotta develop a splash screen for that.
Oh,
And maybe a
yeah.
little jingle.
I think there's a way to get
That'd be
to
fun.
get images in there. So I'll have to figure that out.
If you could store like video in there too, that'd be
I think
cool.
you can.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
We're in high tech. We have some cameras to switch around if we want. Abel has a bit of a reach, so
Yeah, that too. We're gonna work on.
we're gonna work on that too. But we're
Making-
getting fancy. We're getting
We're getting
Mhm.
fancy.
technologically fancy.
Yeah.
So thanks again for joining us. So we're gonna cook through these episodes so that we don't, but we're gonna have fun with them.
Yeah.
So we were on episode 13,
13.
I'd say.
Yeah.
What's 13?
And that was ideas for YouTube channels and more. So I think we did talk about it a little bit because we were talking about like the news
Yes.
segment thing
Okay.
and like doing like different little segments like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's something that's, especially with the switching unit, that we'd love to do is like a little offshoot segment, like to have a segment that's like this mock news
Yeah.
um
That's also in the works.
broadcast,
Yeah.
which would be a
Yeah.
blast, like local kind of BS news.
Yeah. We thought about reading the Warren Times.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
What's going on in Warren?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It'd be
they're
good
very
to
funny.
I think it wouldn't be liable if we made fun of
No.
Okay.
News is news.
Yeah.
News is news.
We could have news about this.
News about the news.
Shitty news.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, I remember when we were talking about the YouTube ideas, we were talking about very niche, like extremely niche sort of communities,
Mhm.
and how cool that was
Mm.
to create things that were just really, really niche.
Mhm.
I have a few that I follow. There's this so one of my favorite video games ever. There's like a pretty strong community around it. It's called Bully.
Hmm.
And it was a Rockstar game back when PS2 came out. And the community is still thriving to this day. Still asking Rockstar for the second iteration of Bully, which
That's
I don't think
PS2
they'll
you
ever
said?
do. Yeah,
So that's like how old is that?
it's pretty old. I remember
Wonder what year that was.
I was in, I want to say I was in
2006.
middle school. I think I was in middle
Wow.
school.
So it's
No,
almost 20 years old.
maybe high school.
Yeah.
High school. If it's
Yeah.
2006, well, PS2 is that Bully or is that PS2?
Hang on.
I think PS2 was earlier than that. I think PS2 was like
So it's
03. No, I could be totally wrong.
No, it says 2006.
2006.
Yeah, for the
Okay.
original release.
But
of
what
that.
was the game? Was it like a fun game? I
Yeah,
imagine
Bully
if the
was like
community was-
essentially it was like this kid who got picked on in
Mhm.
high school, and more or less the entire game is kind of revolves around getting back at them.
Hmm.
But it's Rockstar, so it's like a Grand Theft Auto type
Oh, geez.
setting, but all your weapons are like dodgeballs and like
Oh,
you know
okay.
it's really really fun.
So
I'm not doing
it doesn't
justice
go
now.
into like Columbine kind of thing.
No,
Right?
oh
Okay.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, I have pictures.
Because I'm,
Pictures
like
on
these
the
bullies
thing.
are making fun of him, and he's
No.
Okay,
it's
all
not
right.
like that.
It's not like that at all.
No. It's you have like I don't know, Nerf guns and
Yeah.
stuff. Dodgeballs and
Someone's putting someone's head in a toilet.
yep, stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, I can say the word, Rob.
Okay.
I mean, I can say the word. I was just,
yeah.
you were talking about like this kid getting revenge.
Yeah,
and then you
I
said
guess
in
so.
their
I guess so.
weapons, and then I was like,
Yeah,
and
I
then you
guess
said
I
they're
wasn't
dodgeballs,
doing
and
it.
I said, okay,
justice,
it's a
yeah.
much different.
But very fun game. And there's still like a thriving community, as well as there's many other games that are like that. There's another community around the Ninja Turtles games
Hmm.
where a lot of the 2D side scroller like beat 'em up games, they've taken like parts of all those games and put them into one game. And you can play through like all of pretty much the best levels and like kind of user made levels.
Mm.
And that's fantastic.
So this YouTube channel just follows
it's
all of that.
no, they're all different YouTube channels.
Oh, of each of these.
Of each of these things. They're
Jeez.
like so niche.
Yeah, that's pretty
Right.
niche.
Can you
yeah.
imagine like communities still talking about like a game from 2000 and whatever 6 or 7 today?
Still lots of views
Still-
and followers too, right?
And then
yeah.
a lot of very talented like coders that are doing mods for these games.
Cool.
And, like,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you can get into a rabbit hole. It seems.
Yeah.
Different.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. That sounds
but
cool.
there's so many things. There's so many things.
yeah,
and it's just really
I need
cool.
to stay away from those things, like because they sound cool.
Yeah.
it's just gonna distract me from. I don't know. That sounds great. Yeah,
You can get really deep.
yeah.
Yeah.
Under
This
the
kid
iceberg.
looks like
is that what
Bobby
it's
Hill
called?
a little bit.
What's that?
Yes, he does. He very much looks like Bobby Hill. Yes.
Oh, from Bully.
It would not surprise me if that's what he is modeled after. Yeah, and you
Whoa.
get a skateboard. You get to skateboard
Whoa,
through the whole
kinda like
town.
Bart, yeah,
So like it's like a
Yeah, see?
private school,
you
and
would
you can
not find Bobby Hill skateboarding.
yeah. Oh, you want me to pull it up? I can pull it up.
Much too much work.
There he is.
It looks not like a game that would be up my alley, but just the same.
I
it's
recommend you
obviously
try
up
it 'cause
someone's.
I think it's one of the best games ever made.
That's us. It scared me for a second. I said, it looks like us. Okay. Well, that's wild. So yeah, niche
Niche YouTube
YouTube channels. That's really, really cool.
Mhm.
Rob says he liked doing all the classroom stuff.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So like on top of like running around in the town and having all these like missions, you also have to like keep your grades up,
Oh, whoa.
which is very fun.
So you have to do like homework assignments and stuff.
Yep. You have to take tests, and like you got to do good in them, or else you get in trouble.
Wow.
That sounds so fun.
It is like
Sounds
I'm
so
not. I know I'm
fucking
not
fun.
doing it. I know I'm not doing it justice, but
Um,
like if you played it, you'd be hooked on it.
Wow.
It was like a really awesome game. Yeah, but
Cool.
you know,
it does sound interesting. Yeah.
Mm.
I won't play.
I recommend you do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You also say Aliens is a bad movie, but
Mm.
Aliens is well, it's kind of
are you going back?
Alien is my
All time?
one of my favorite
Right,
movies
yeah.
ever. So like to me, Aliens was sort of a spoof of it. It's
Yeah,
very, very,
Silly.
very silly comparatively to something that took itself very seriously.
Mm.
And so
Awesome.
to me, I don't even know, like, if you could separate the two.
You can't.
And
Ripley's in it. Ripley's badass.
yeah,
She's awesome.
come on, it's a Ridley Scott movie versus a James Cameron movie.
Mostly.
Come on.
Mostly. All right.
Well,
Well,
speaking of aliens,
But I'm
Our
sure you
next-
can find rabbit holes on YouTube.
of that.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I'm sure I'm not
Just
the only one
just
with
a
that
straight
opinion.
up like Bill Paxton aliens rabbit hole
Yeah.
of how like without him, it's an
Yeah.
iceberg thing. Rob turned me on to icebergs,
Oh yeah.
which I think is like that rabbit hole, another thing for rabbit hole,
oh, because there's like so much underneath.
like layers, things like that. But
Yeah.
I really don't know what I'm saying. And Rob says 4.5, not to stay on the subject, but Alien 4.5/5, and he says Aliens 4/5.
Oh.
There you go.
Ice Cube. So well, that was
Episode 14. What was that?
That was the Halloween special.
oh
What did we talk about for the Halloween special?
I think we talked about different haunted houses. Didn't we talk about something with haunted houses?
we went all over the place. We had a different jingle. That was the first time we went
was
into
that
a
the-
different jingle.
Ghost Hunter one too? Was that where the ghost?
No, that was.
Oh, that was the
some separate-
paranormal one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't remember.
Yeah, the Halloween one was fun. I think we might have gone off onto a few different rants. I think we talked about maybe some fun crafts or something, or costumes. I'm sure we talked about costumes.
Yeah, we definitely
and-
did.
We talked about
And,
like
like, how,
homemade
like,
costumes. And
We
That's
brought
stuff.
up our Jaws costumes.
Yes,
Mhm.
yep. We might have even gone into, and I do have a vague recollection. I don't know if this was the same episode, but we went into what was it? Like costuming for films and like the
Mhm.
job of costuming.
Oh,
And-
yeah.
Mhm.
And I think that led us back we referenced props going back. So yeah, that was a fun one.
You made the fun jingle for it.
yes, the
Halloween
jingle. That was the new jingle for that one. We might have even discussed jingles a little bit.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was a fun one. I was saying I listened to the jingle.
Yeah, you
earlier
listened to it today, right?
and it came up on one of my playlists, and it was fun. The quality wasn't as good on YouTube, so I don't know. Maybe one of these days
for the
we'll
song?
return to jingles and we'll replay it for them.
Hmm.
But yeah, that was the Halloween one.
Mhm. And that was the last one you were here for before
Was it?
you went. to
Oh,
New
that's
York.
right.
Before you
Yeah, so we
scooted.
Yeah.
get some that I wasn't even here for that
Hmm.
I can try to comment on a little bit.
So the next one was show and tell, and who knows what else, Missy Abel, and that was when we used the camera, the other camera.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
Yeah, that
and-
was your first experimenting with multiple camera angles.
Yeah,
yeah.
we had a switcher of some sort.
Were you showing your table?
Yep, we showed your table.
We showed the table.
the
I think
progress
that's
of
here.
that.
So I think I
Yeah.
remember being able to watch this one, if I'm not mistaken,
Mm-hmm.
or at least parts of it.
Yeah.
I remember it was a slower. Wait a minute, why was I not here? Are you sure I wasn't here? I think I was here for that one.
Or were you not well?
I think it
Oh,
was
you
in-
were getting ready?
Oh, that
Was
yeah,
it?
that might have been
It was the
prepping
one where I was
for-
prepping.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we did the table. Well, here it is.
Yeah, 'cause
and
that was
it's-
November.
It's been well. And Kaylee showed some of your paintings over there.
Mm-hmm.
We showed, I think we tried to show some of my nephew's paintings, like some
Yeah.
kids' paintings in
Yeah.
that one.
We did those too.
Yeah, it was tough because we started to try to compensate for Abel not being here, prepping for those shows. So we tried to mix it up a little bit. I think almost every show we had a show and tell segment kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
which was like half planned. But yep, that's when we went into that.
Yep.
And I think you might have done that might have been the start of you doing your reading.
oh yeah, I think so.
Yes, I
yeah.
think you're right
Blog
because I
reading. Yep.
caught the end of that.
yeah.
Didn't you show the
Yes.
table you were making? Yeah.
Yes. Yep,
Yeah, I
that's this
remember
one,
seeing
Rob.
that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pay attention a little. Yeah, that's this one. I'm doing pretty good with it. It's obviously functional. I'm taking scissors. I'm taking it all over the place.
It's so nice. It's mobile.
Yeah, it's mobile. Right now I have a light attached to it. I'm doing watercolors on it.
You say it's
Um,
mobile. Is it on casters?
Yes, it is on casters.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, yep, it's on casters.
Those are the Blue Harbor Freight ones.
Yeah, these are
Yeah.
nice ones. And then when the actuator is down and it's flat, the casters work. They kick on when they're not locked. I'm thinking of putting a caster on the actuator, which will give it more tilt. Problem is I can't tilt it too much, otherwise it becomes bottom heavy. So I've run into a few things with it, but it goes to the perfect stop pitch. I would like it a little bit higher. Could move the actuator down. Who knows?
You know, that's an interesting point. You never get it the first shot. You always need to do multiple versions.
Mm-hmm.
I've sort of like learned that so much so that whenever I make anything, I know even before I start it, I know that the first version of it is not going to be the one I'm going to use.
It's a prototype.
It's a
kind of thing.
prototype.
Mm.
That's yep. And almost everything I've ever made has been like that. So it's a good I think it's a good mentality to have.
Yeah. Yep.
This is and I think it's a encouraging mentality because you start to look at it like there's going to be things I don't like about this. I know that. But if you look at it in the right light, all those things can be fixed. And you know you're going to learn so much about this thing you're making.
Right.
You can have
So that when the second iteration comes out, you know you'll get so much closer.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, you're trying to get to a vision you have. So like it's a good way to not get discouraged after making the first prototype of something.
Yeah.
It's not going to be right.
Right.
It's going to take a couple times.
Yeah.
And then it will be right.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, that's
So-
why I haven't painted it yet.
Yeah.
Is because there are certain parts of
You
it
learn
that-
from it. You
that,
learn from what
um,
you did and what you can do better. And then you do it again. And it's like,
Right.
it's sort of like hard. It's like, it becomes like a little bit of work,
Mhm.
but then like you'll be so much happier when you get that second version done and it fixed all those problems.
Yeah.
And then you'll find problems with that. But usually around the third one, you're like, this is pretty damn good. And yeah, you'll always find problems with everything you make, but you'll get to a point where you're like, this is good enough.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Avoid cutting corners.
Yep.
Especially in the beginning. But yeah, no, this is coming along well.
Yeah.
But that was show and tell for that one.
Yeah.
I think I had a thrilling segment on all the things you could do with actuators.
You did.
But yeah, there are lots that you can do.
Yeah. I think I was part of that, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah. I think it was. Yeah, because that's what makes this sucker go up and down.
Pretty cool.
And then what was next? We had what episode are we on now?
16.
Hmm.
Jingles, collaborative art, and more show and tell. That's the one Taylor was on too.
Oh, yes, we had the guest appearance.
I saw half of that one.
That was great. That was a good one. Taylor was all, I think that's the one we have the most views on too, right?
I think so, yeah.
Makes you wonder.
Makes you wonder.
Yeah, Taylor was great.
Maybe we should just have Taylor do the podcast.
Yeah. Or he could be another co-host if you wanted.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or a guest anytime.
Special guest.
Yeah, special guest anytime we need a boost of ratings.
Mhm.
Just get Taylor on.
Mhm.
But Taylor was great because he runs that variety show,
Uh-huh.
Larry's Lounge, and it was perfect for what we were talking about, community and art. That's such like just sucks in all kinds of performance art, collaborating all at once for this kind of like I don't know, cosmic event to a lot of people. People love it. I think it's like a highlight of a season.
Yeah, I remember him talking about his mentality with how it's just like you get one song or you get like, what is it, 2 or 3 minutes or something. You get one thing you get to do and then that's it.
Mm-hmm.
There's no dragging it on. There's none of that. So it's cool. Like those variety shows are very entertaining.
Oh yeah.
From front to back. And that if like something comes up that doesn't pique your interest, it's only 3 minutes away until something else comes up.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly. Yeah, if you don't like an act or
Yeah.
something like that, another one's gonna pop up. But
Yeah.
most of the acts are like entertaining. You know,
They
and
are
that-
yeah,
it just so
they're
happens like
yeah,
they
they're-
did
they're
a
very
good
good.
job,
Yeah.
and the acts are entertaining.
Yeah.
And just to, and that's kind of like a treat to society, I think, or like to like that
Yeah.
area. You know what I mean? It's a real treat. It's like a present. It's like for that, that's more entertaining than shows that I've paid $50 for. And you know what I
Right.
mean?
Oh, yeah, I
like
agree.
like professional, fully professional shows, you know,
Yeah.
of maybe my favorite bands. How much did we pay for those Pixies tickets?
Oh yeah.
You know, and we were you know, nosebleed sections for a Pixies tour, reunion tour. And then we saw Frank Black 2 days later, or like a couple
couple
weeks later
weeks
for like
later.
$15 at Spot Underground.
Yeah.
It was way better. But like that kind of thing, it was just this local, awesome, like not even theatrical performance, just multiple performers.
Yeah.
You know,
It's always good to like
it's a treat.
yeah catch like an artist sort of in that setting. Like there's been a few times that I've caught comedians that I really enjoy at like on like a Wednesday or a Thursday night at a club, and been able to see them working out material as opposed to like seeing their very refined material. And I don't know, like I know that probably the refined stuff is the one I'll laugh at the most, but like it's also a very impactful sort of thing that I would remember seeing a comedian work out their performances. And I feel like the variety show has a lot of that. It's a lot of you know, people just experimenting, trying new things.
Yeah.
And you get to kind of like absorb that. And I don't know, I think it's a really good thing.
It's awesome.
You'll never forget it. You know
No.
what I mean? Something like that, as opposed to like super refined.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Didn't you say the Parlor has like a good kind of atmosphere for
Yeah,
that too?
that's-
Because it's like
yep.
it was similar to like the open mics and stuff there. Like the audience, everybody's very like welcoming to people, just like trying stuff out and whatnot.
That's extremely I mean, that's something that like kind of like brought a tear to my eye once. And it's a quick story, but it was like I went to the Parlor for an open mic night just to go there and check it out. And it was this woman's first time ever playing in front of an audience, and she had just started learning the guitar the week before.
Oh wow.
And had never sang,
Yeah.
really, like shower singing maybe. Went up, did not well, you know, like stumbled through everything, was shaking, making weird noises. Like we make weird noises when we're nervous. I always do.
Yeah.
And but made it through the song and just powered through. And everybody just like, she got the biggest round of applause of the night.
Sure. That will
The
connect.
biggest round of applause.
Yeah.
And the next week, I think I went in and she was a little bit better, but also shaky and more weird noises, but a little bit better and fun. And then same, loudest. And then I didn't go there for a while. And then maybe 5 months later, I went there again. They were still doing it. And she went on and she was much better, much better. And
Yeah.
then like still got the biggest applause in the crowd. You know, it was just like you see something like that, and that's like in a movie or something, you know. It's like such a, and so I thought that was great. And I don't know what would have driven that, like if it's the owner and like how people just are in the area, the artists in the area, the people in the area that show up to these things. It wasn't like the most popular because it wasn't Central Providence kind of. It was kind of on the outskirts. It's right on the edge of Providence and Pawtucket. So maybe it's also Pawtucket like area. What's
North Province.
Well,
The Parlor?
the Parlor.
Yeah, it's North Province.
Yeah, is it North Providence? Okay, yeah, because you're getting closer to Pawtucket, right? But yeah, maybe it's also that area. But what's the Met, the artist area and the hub over there? You know what I mean?
That's Pawtucket, right?
That's
that's
Pawtucket.
Pawtucket, right?
That's
So
actually
so I wonder if like that's, and you got plenty of both from both sides at the place. But yeah, you wonder what spawns it. And then you have Larry's Lounge. That was like one of the coolest things I'd ever seen. Then you have Larry's Lounge, the variety show there as well. And you're just All right, blown away. Yeah, it's
Yeah, I mean, News
nice little
Cafe is down that way.
News
Yeah.
Cafes in Pawtucket.
Always played shows there. I always pick that place.
Yeah,
That's such
They-
an
that's where I see
interesting
most of my
space.
friends
Such
play.
an interesting. It's like an old disco bar that became like a watering hole,
It's a triangle.
and then they treated artists better than any other venue. They'd give them the entire door,
Wow.
That's
and
great.
the owner would be there, and the owner would take the money at the door as opposed to like trying to hire someone to take, and the
Mhm.
artists, they would cater to touring bands. They would
Cool.
put like one local artist,
They still
and
do?
then
News Cafe.
I believe so.
I
yeah,
think they do too.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And that's one of those venues. Like to me, that's like the diamond in the Rhode Island area.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
just this place that caters to touring bands. They get them local support. They take care of the bands and make sure the bands get paid.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
those places, and it's
It's a
a
hallway
cool,
too. It's like a big hallway.
It's a hallway. It's
Yeah.
terrible for sound.
I love that they
Uh,
put the monitor though, so like they have like the TV
So you can,
and
like,
the
see the
camera.
band.
So even if
They
you're in
do-
the back, you can
yeah.
see the band playing
Cool.
still.
Yeah.
Yep. They got the space they got. They optimize it so much. Like, they do everything they can to make it just a great venue. And like,
Mhm.
Cool.
Anthony
Cool.
mentions Hope Artist Village. That's like right in between,
Oh yeah.
News Cafe and the Parlor in Providence.
I'm not familiar with that.
Well, that's like the area of the Met, like where the Met is. All those.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah. I
Yeah.
actually am. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did, it's like a mill, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
a big mill
Yeah.
complex. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember there was an art show that I set up in there with, Ape and Bird friends. Ape and Bird. We were in the hallway.
Cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
they did like markets and
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
like that.
I remember
Neat.
that. That was
That's really
great.
cool.
That was really cool.
Mm.
Do people live in there? Like artists live in there? Is that
I
what
think
that is?
it's-
Some people
There
live in
might
there
be
too. That's where
some-
the escape room was
The
too.
escape room that you and Rob worked at.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a
Lock
great.
and Clue.
Mhm.
was
Escape room,
great.
yeah.
But there's
Yeah.
little apartments and stuff too, I think.
Yeah, so that I think maybe that area too is just a cool area.
It is a cool area.
I've just always enjoyed that was like the collaboration. That's where you find that collaboration. There's
Yeah.
just kind of like a nice heartwarming love, kind of like mushy love kind of thing going on,
Yeah.
which is really, really, really important, I think, for
Yeah.
community and artists,
Mm.
which we broached on with Taylor
Oh yeah.
plenty. That was a great episode. So what was next?
And next was this was your solo one. Ideas for when you're alone. Short show, listen and tell.
Yeah. That was a fun one. That I was trying to run a similar mixer, a smaller mixer, but also trying to mix it up. I really like the idea of having like a broadcast, like radio show, even though radio is kind of really slowly dying, but it's still kind of there. But like, something like that more so. I had local like music that we made here play for the break while I set up another set for show and tell.
You did video. You showed video too, like the thing you filmed at CCRI.
I had some of my video muted that was
Mhm.
going to the music that I was playing of these playlists while I set up. That was pretty cool. That worked because I had that like syncopation that sometimes lines up with video and music, so it was kind of fun to see the different songs to that. And then I really went into my typewriter.
Oh,
I had just gotten a new typewriter, which I'm still using, is still great. I still need to get an eraser ribbon because it's like the first typewriter that could erase.
Oh really?
Yeah, and I have the eraser ribbon. I
How
found
does
it.
that work? Isn't it ink?
It's a whiteout.
Oh, it's a whiteout.
So when
Okay.
you hit backwards, it just does a stamp of white
Okay.
over what you just did.
That's cool.
And it's kind of smart. It's kind of intelligent. It can remember certain correction paths and like patterns.
Okay.
But you have to set those. You have to kind of program in the moment and then like kind of on off switch it. It's really cool. There are ways to like.
No computer chips in it, right? I don't think so.
No.
No, I don't.
Does
think
it feel
there's a-
digital at all?
Yeah, a little
It
bit.
does?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it feels electronic. It's
It doesn't feel like clunk like analog. It feels like there's a little bit of digital in there.
It's tough. It's tough to tell. It's tough to tell. There might be some kind of small, like primitive chip in there that for memory, like small memory piece.
Yeah.
But it's as close to that border of like analog, electronic. But it's not. Yeah. So it's not like an electronic typewriter that punches. This thing will actually like move things. It's like a printer. And then it's like a digital signal that I think it is like early
What-
digital.
When the paper came out, did it look like those sort of printers that used to print on that perforated paper? You know, those with the lines down, you could peel the holes
Oh
off the
yeah,
side.
yeah. No,
Did it
you
look
can-
like that, or did it look like ink?
Oh no, it's ink from the band,
It's
and
ink
it's
from the
paper
band.
that you like load in. You load the paper, and the paper loader isn't like automatic even. Like
So when you
still
press
have
a
to do
when you
everything.
press a letter, it puts the letter on.
It stamps it. Yeah,
It
it
does
stamps
stamp
through.
it,
Yeah,
yeah.
so it's just like an old typewriter. But the force that you're pushing into the old typewriters is the force it's pumping out.
Yeah, right.
Whereas this is a signal and a punch, like an immediate punch. It's really impressive. Like I can't even see it. I was looking, I was like, how does this thing even work? I was like, it's not working, but
So no velocity.
it's going like faster than the eye can see.
Hmm.
That's how quick it is. The punches. And then I was like, kind of like, oh, how hard is that punch? But I didn't do it. But
Oh, I
it
got
was really crazy.
I got the video of you doing it.
Oh, neat.
On the computer.
I won't put the sound.
Oh, there it is.
There she
Oh,
is.
oh, yeah.
Yeah. So this shot, like I was shooting this with a PTZ cam, and yeah, that thing's pretty awesome.
And
A lot of crotch shots and bum shots, and me walking in and out of
then there's
the.
the paper going in.
Yeah,
There
goes
it
in.
is.
Yeah. Yeah, there's still many manual aspects to using this new age.
But it must have been so cool at the time when it came out.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's smooth to write on. Like I look forward to writing on it. The punch is like extremely yeah, so I replaced all the ribbon in there. I think in this I didn't have the ribbon replaced. Oh, maybe I did. But I just got the eraser ribbon. Yeah, that was fun. That was kind of like a, I don't know, like a hobby kind of like segment I liked.
Yeah.
For enthusiasts, niche,
Yeah.
typewriter followers. But yeah, that was a real fun one. And I liked and I also discussed fun things to do when you're alone. Or yeah, when you're by yourself. That was a good one for me. I was trying to also like emphasize, I don't know, I might have gotten a little bit not spiritual, but
Into like meditation.
and saying like it's okay to be alone, trying to but I also talked myself into other rabbit holes with it, but that was still fun also.
Yeah. Anthony asked, is it like receipt tape? I think I was asking the same question.
Oh right.
But
No,
it's not.
It's
It's like-
it's a print.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
because because you can also install on this one a red tape
Oh,
for
cool.
editing and for things like that. So
Oh, cool.
you can edit a paper on it. It's definitely pushed towards teachers and maybe bankers. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Thinking about that makes it boring, so I don't think about who it was directed for. Certainly, yeah. But so that was a good one.
Yeah.
Things to do when you're alone.
And then the next one, episode 18, was book cover art, sci-fi and
Oh yeah, that
others.
was cool.
That was neat. We had our good friend Justin on, and he
Mhm.
brought a ton of cool books. A lot of fantasy, so we saw some like really nice painted kind of covers.
Yeah.
We broached on a lot of cool topics, and
Mhm.
started to stem slightly away from idea producing specifically, which we usually stick on. But at the same time, I think we were also like just looking at cool pieces of art, like things that you don't think about.
Mhm.
When your inspiration is a big part of it.
Yeah. Yep.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like you the only way that we could ever create really much of anything is to be inspired by something else. You know what I mean?
Right.
Mhm.
We have to learn from, you have to learn before you make.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely. And the topic of that episode was that, what
Yeah.
I mean? And that was the idea for it. And that was the thought for it. But Justin was great on it.
Mm.
And we started talking about all kinds of things in that episode.
What an
Yeah.
interesting thing to have to summarize an entire book with one picture.
Yeah, we talked
Mm.
about that. Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
And
Yep.
he knew everything because he knew these books really well. He's a bookworm,
Yeah.
So he saw the importance and got excited when he looked, like, because as you're reading the book and then you close it every time, you're looking at it and things, and then he went into the back of the book, and then we went into book sleeves
Mhm.
and cover sleeves, things like that. It's things that you don't think about but see all the time.
Yeah.
We started talking also about, like, do publishers have a lot of you know,
Oh,
like
sway,
say on
yeah.
and sway on what goes on the cover. Sometimes
Mhm.
you get like a movie book, like the movie that was made from a book,
Sure.
and you get like just the movie DVD cover basically on the book,
Yeah.
Mhm.
removing all like artistic kind of.
I want to say they do, but at the same time, like
I
find-
talked to a friend since he said for him, when he had his book published, he had total rights and total choice of what was on the first book.
Oh,
that's
First print.
that's what I would imagine, because if you look at books like from like the 90s,
Mm.
80s, 90s, the cover art was like really fantastic. It was like conceptual illustrations or
Hmm.
whatever. But if you look at books now, like
Mm.
modern books, they're so boring. Like the covers
Yeah.
and basic, and usually just like two colors and like just like a symbol. Like the
Hmm.
difference between like could you look up like a Philip K. Dick book
Mhm.
from like the 90s, and then look one up from like recent, and just look at the covers, and like I'm almost positive you're gonna get like the most boring thing that's
It's
modern,
different. Yeah.
and then like the old school ones would be like, holy shit.
Right. Yeah. Bernie Wrightson did quite a few book covers, and he mainly worked in comics. But, just these gorgeous kind of shots.
Okay,
Yeah.
so there's a perfect example. Like the maze. Look at that, the Maze of Death, and then like, is
Yeah.
that one in the top right? Like
A newer one.
a newer one? No.
Divine Invasion.
Like,
Well,
look at
Oh,
this
that's a
one.
book
Look at
cover.
this one over
biography,
here.
that's a
Look at this one to
biography.
the left.
Poor Noble.
Down one row. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, look at that.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But like, if you were to pull up like a modern one, these are definitely all old covers. But if you were to pull up like modern,
Yeah, aren't these like
newest release, newest book.
That one. Oh, they still look pretty cool.
That looks interesting, but I don't know. Like,
Oh,
like
this
I was
is not him.
I was in Borders,
Hmm.
and I was just looking at the covers, and they just look like this.
Oh, yep. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like just like
oh yeah.
simplistic, like
Yeah.
More minimal.
shapes.
Mm.
Whereas they used to look like that to the left. Like, look at Ubik. Like, look at the Ubik cover. That is so
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, you
And
go all the
I-
way back to the 50s, you get like amazing
I feel
book
like
covers.
They don't do that, and then you get like stuff like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like they got really boring.
Yeah, they're
which makes me think that the studios just don't. Either they're heavily involved and they're trying to be as modernistic as possible,
yeah, right.
or they're not involved at all, and the artists have passed, and now it's just like, just do it as cheap as possible. You know what I mean?
Right. The cheapest
You know
thing,
what I mean?
Yeah, it's interesting too. I think about it. Sometimes I look at the bottom of like books, so I like to take the cover off, and I think I actually kind of like that old style encyclopedia look to what they usually are underneath.
Mm.
Sometimes you get surprised though too. You take the cover off and it's a different cover, like
Oh,
on the book,
underneath?
and it's a cooler cover, or it's like a different like variant. You know, kind of. It's
Yeah.
neat.
That was like old. Like I remember I had a Lord of the Rings trilogy. It was I believe the second iteration of the book, and the cover was actually, the paper cover was actually very boring. But when you took the paper cover off, it was like really cool, like
Whoa.
embroidered,
Wow.
like symbols and all sorts of cool stuff. Nerd.
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I really am. Anthony says, I am guilty of judging a book by its cover.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the point of having a cover on
Harry
a book.
Potter has some cool cover art. They have
Mhm.
changed for different editions. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. And then you have variants, just like comic books and
Mhm.
comic book covers. You know, you
Yeah.
have an artist making the cover, and the artist isn't in the book at all, but it's just like a banging cover, a cover that just like really hits and is really good.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a fun episode. What do we have next?
And then next, that was 18, 19 was Mum's the word and video project ideas. Oh, this is the one where I like blanked out completely.
Yeah. So we went over Kaylee's creation of Mums, and Mums is like this. For those who might have missed it, Mums is like this. Is it Mums here? No, Mums
he's
is over there.
over there. Yeah.
Mums is like this cool humanoid robot puppet
Yeah.
that Kaylee made, and then I had rigged up a live, like, large puppeteer strings,
Like
Okay.
pulley system.
pulley
Yeah.
system, but it was a reverse pulley system, so that when you lifted your hand, it lifted its arm, so you didn't have to like pull to make its arm go up. Like, it was reversed, so the pulleys were coming from the floor, so everything you did, it almost
Mimicked what you were doing.
yeah, and
Mhm.
the idea was I attached these Velcro pieces to the strings, and then you attach those to your ankles and your wrists, and it kind of does what you wanted to
It's kinda
do.
cool.
And it was like elevated really high in the air. I should have gotten some pictures of it ready for this. But so Kaylee was explaining it, but she kind of like blanked out. She's like, and we did a comic book, and it was really kind of like halted. And I got behind the camera behind that camera.
Oh yeah, because we had Mum sitting here.
We had
I
Mum
think.
sitting here,
Yeah.
like, in your place actually, and Kaylee went up to it and showed different parts of it and how she created it.
And I think that's what tripped me up too, because I was trying to talk to you while you were running the camera, but then I felt weird doing that, and then I was like, "Oh, now I'm aware of
I'm
the
on
camera."
camera.
And
Yeah.
now I'm thinking, "What am I talking about?"
And then I just put it on a wide shot, stepped back in, and said, "Why don't you sit down?" No, I didn't. I just explained. I was like, "So Mums," and then I went more into detail of it. But it was cool. And then you clicked in and took off with it. It was really good. Mums is awesome, and I've been wanting. Speaking of that, that was like our first try at writing a comic book with our friend Ian. So we'd love to bring that back, because Ian was doing some great things with the writing,
Yeah.
and the illustration. Some of the stuff was cool. So maybe we'll return to that.
That would be fun.
That would be fun. So what was the next one?
And then episode 20, ideas plus ideas equals more ideas plus show equals an idea from Don. So this was the around Christmas one, and we did like the homemade gifts and stuff, and that's when you first showed your dad's book.
Yes, which was based around the idea for a Christmas gift that I wanted. Everybody makes their own, and I make it for everybody. And Dad took it to another level and made me a book, and he made a bunch of books for a bunch of people, like a bunch of copies. So yeah, and then I read at the end a nice little blurb from Dad's book. I've read a couple of those.
Yeah.
A word you'll see in the title, plus some words from Don, which is usually I'm reading from that book. Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool.
That was a fun one. Yeah, a lot of ideas in that one.
Yeah, that was
At least in the title.
And then Abel returns. Ghost Town
Yeah.
collaborative, fake commercials ideas,
Yep.
and more.
Yeah, that was really fun.
That was the Ghost Town episode. Yeah. Taking over a town.
Yeah, and finding a way to get resources.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really cool.
I think we settled on just having a few Mack trucks at your disposal. They can
Yeah.
go gather groceries
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
water and stuff
and water
like that.
and
yeah.
like maybe a old fire truck.
yeah,
water.
fire truck. You brought that
Yeah.
up too. That was cool.
And
Yeah.
the commercials, I think, were ads for like the town and stuff too, right?
Yeah,
we
yeah.
had some like fake ads for the town.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
got into the topic of Airbnb. You were mentioning Airbnb.
Airbnb. Oh yeah, and then
for,
weren't we
like,
were we talking about having
live
these
in a
like
ghost town?
having these like abandoned buildings that people could like do like paintball through or whatever.
Yeah, yep, that's
Mhm.
true too.
You know,
Yeah,
like these
definitely.
old saloons and
Utilize that
stuff.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That would be cool.
You could have like duels with paintball guns.
Mm.
Like,
Oh,
you know, like
I'd want to just
cowboy.
have my friends over. That'd just
What do
be
you call it?
vacation
It's a duel,
spot.
right? Is that what you call it?
Yeah, or showdown,
Showdown.
duel. Yeah.
When you wait to see who pulls the gun out fastest.
Mhm.
With
Yep.
the paintball guns.
You guys would make excellent cowboys. Is that a duel?
Duel.
A showdown.
Yeah.
A showdown. Shootout.
A showdown, shootout.
I feel like there's a proper name for it.
It's a duel, Rob
Is it?
says. Isn't
It's
it
a duel?
DUAL?
No, it's EL.
Okay.
Duel is like double.
Okay, thanks, Rob. So what what was the next episode though? Right there?
I'm sorry, I was looking up at this. Gunfight.
What are you doing?
Showdown.
Oh my
I
gosh.
was trying to solve that.
What is the real name for it? Oh,
Duel.
Rob is very convinced it's a duel.
Duel.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a
Duel.
duel.
Mags
Showdown at
anymore.
the OK Corral.
Get those off.
Yeah, so
People
it's
are
also
looking at the bottom
Showdown.
of your shoes.
Is that bad?
It's disrespectful.
Come on.
Well, I was putting mine up, and then they were just saw 2 pairs of like the bottom of our shoes. So if you can't do it, I shouldn't either. So what was the next?
The next was Mags and More. And that,
Oh.
this, I think we got into like really niche like magazines too.
Yeah. Yep. Which was fun. That was a good one.
Yeah, we were talking about the super niche magazines. I forget the one that we
Carp Monthly, or
Yeah. I had the one about convenience stores.
oh yeah,
lottery tickets.
The lottery
Yeah.
tickets one was
Lottery
a great
ticket.
idea.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
It
a
tells
great
you
idea.
what scratchies have hit and all
Yeah.
that.
Odds
stats.
of like winnings, and we were saying how AI and different machine learning like formulas could really help you with that, like in an instant.
Mhm.
Tell you the data for that. It's boring me talking about it. But yeah. What was next?
And then Break the Habit Rabbit, ideas for spicing up creative energies and more.
That was fun. That was a good one.
Mhm.
We were talking about getting out of kind of like I think we were talking about like getting out of like creative funks, or
Mhm.
getting into the space of like wanting to make something or create something, getting the energy
Yep.
from different things. Some of the stuff we said was watching something different,
Mhm.
challenging yourself.
Oh yeah, that was.
Mhm.
I remember I was talking about how I'd write music to just film,
Mm-hmm.
just like
Yep.
watching a
That was
movie
like
and
an-
then
yep.
writing to try to break out of any sort of habits.
Yeah,
Or-
yeah, habits. Yeah,
Yeah,
breaking habits of like writing songs, maybe always the same
formulas.
formulas with illustration,
Yeah,
or painting, like just and it was pretty simple, really. It was don't be afraid to step out of the box, and
yeah,
really go out there with whatever.
and to specifically find ways that will get you outside, like
Yeah,
kind of pull
yeah,
you outside,
pull you
of
out. Mhm.
your
Mhm.
comfort zone,
Conduits,
so that
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned a few that were great, especially like you said, like just and we talked about exercises, like make up little games for yourselves,
Yeah.
Mhm.
anything, little challenges.
prompts. We've
Mhm.
done that before with making songs with like you write a line, I write a line, you write
Yep.
a line, I write a line.
A fun little bar trick. Yeah, if you're with
Mhm.
someone, like make a topic or no topic, just write the first line and then someone writes the next,
Mhm.
and maybe it'll rhyme or not, but then at the end you kind of have a neat little thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was good.
And then the next one was the song meets video, talking audio and video ideas.
Yeah. That one I wish I did a little better on. I had some video footage, and then I had some songs. I think, John, you weren't well for that one. Abel, you weren't well for that one.
Oh yeah, that was the one with a snow.
Yes,
that was the snow day.
snow day.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yep. So
Oh yeah, because I took video. Yeah.
Yep. That was a good one. That actually turned out to be a good one. I was a little grumpy before it started, but
I think we were both.
I didn't get to see it. I didn't even get
yeah,
to see it.
that's it. That was a good one. So what I did was I showed. I took some footage around here because it was a snowy day. It was not a blizzard, but a snowy day, and I took some footage around here, some kind of weird, like random footage
Yeah.
stuff.
B-roll.
B-roll, yeah, and then put 3 different kind of songs to it. I then also wrote like 3 different little, just I think I used my synth for all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Different moods,
Yeah,
and even though the video was the same video, you got kind of a different mood,
Different
or
vibe.
it went into a different pace. I wish I'd used the video that Kaylee had done, which we did, I think, at the end.
Yeah, and then you live like scored it.
Yep,
You just played
I went on the
different
piano,
things.
and Kaylee had just taken this cool shot of the backyard, like panning, and it was snowing. It was snowing quite heavily, and it looked beautiful. It looked really nice, even without any audio. But depending on the chords that I played on the piano, I'd play some dooming chords, or I'd play some boom, 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 boom. It was really cool to
Yeah.
see the difference. So a more neutral video would have been better. as opposed to the random stuff like around here.
That
which
looks
was-
really cool though
it did
too,
look cool.
especially when you went outside and there were like the drops coming out of the gutter and
Yeah,
stuff.
I just filmed the
the
gutter
water.
for a good 5 minutes.
That
Yeah,
was
that was
really
that was
cool.
pretty cool.
Mm.
But that was fun. It was fun to make. So, and I made it in like an hour or two, with like something in mind. And we discussed, I think, too, like expectations for yourself in that one a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and not to get too hard on yourself with stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
And that brings us to recap the next one, which is the recap. So now we're
Oh,
gonna
that was a
go
great
through
one.
all the beginning ones
So
again.
yeah, that was a good
Oh,
one.
God.
That was last week. We recapped
Yeah.
the first episode, and what happened in the first episode was
Oh,
we.
God.
No, I'm just kidding. And so yeah, that was good. And so that brings us back to our quarter.
Yep.
Mhm.
So we're here. So I
We
think
are
we
recapped.
yeah, we're all
Yeah.
recapped.
We're ready to start the next quarter.
Yeah.
The next quarter, yeah, and then
Should we
let's.
do the heroes?
I think that's
before
the
we wrap
best.
it up?
Yeah, let's wrap it up with the heroes.
The potentials.
The potentials.
potentials,
the-
yeah.
This week's potentials.
This week's
Yeah.
potentials.
So last week we said we would come up with superheroes
Yeah.
and then names for them.
Yeah. We're gonna try to do it. I think maybe every week. Try to come up with a new hero.
Yeah, a new potential.
Is the best way for us to each spit out one, or is it for one to come out and then we all talk about it and then what do you think?
Oh yeah. Oh, because then we don't all have to come up with one every time.
I
We could
do like
just
the
go-
idea of it being
we-
random. Like we kind of have to. It's like
Yeah.
it's like a prompt for us to come up with one.
Yeah.
Mm.
And even if you don't have one,
And
you know,
people
make one
can
up.
send us their
you gotta
ideas
have
for
it. It's
them
like
too.
you gotta come to class with your thing.
With your thing?
That's the one thing I think that'd be good.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it'll force us to think of like, I don't know, we're getting down to the nitty gritty, but then we'll have this collection of like crazy ass,
Yeah.
Characters.
cool characters.
We gotta have a
and
database somewhere.
Yeah,
of them
yeah,
all.
yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we really should.
Yeah.
Rob asks, now that you guys have recapped your episodes, what do we have on the horizon? Well, Rob, that's a great question. As we said, we're coming up with this new segment. I think future episodes will bring more ideas.
More ideas. That's pretty much
Mhm.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Horizon of-
Ideas.
And new segments. Yeah. And
new segments on new ideas, new
Mhm.
Yeah.
ideas on new segments,
Mhm.
old ideas on new segments,
Yeah. Old
new
ideas.
segments on old ideas. Is that what I said before?
uh,
Or old segments on new ideas?
so yeah,
Segments.
the potentials
Lots.
Mm-hmm.
are characters. So I thought of one a hero that could essentially break like a water main, like a fire hydrant, and could project out of his or her or their mouth 10 times more force than was going up their butt. So if there was a water main that was broken and it was shooting up in the air, they could sit on it and shoot it out their mouth with
And
10
kinda
times
aim
more
it.
force
And
And
aim it.
aim it wherever they needed to.
It's pretty cool.
And they could do that with anything
Mhm.
that had force.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you were thinking of a name. I was thinking like the hose.
The hose.
Mhm.
What
Or
did I
the
think of for a
sprinkler.
name? The sprinklers. I like that better.
Or just like sprinkler.
Sprinkler.
Yeah.
I like that.
Where's Sprinkler? Get Sprinkler over here.
I think
Where are the
sprinklers.
damn fire trucks? And then Sprinkler just shows up.
I think
I'm here,
sprinkler-
boss.
That is a
I
good
think
one.
sprinkler is really good because
So how does he get the top of the fire hydrant off? Does somebody have to take it
He has
off
to
and then
break
he has
it.
to sit it?
yeah. He has
Or
to
is he
break it.
so he's strong? Is Sprinkler also strong?
Or he could just loot. No, I don't think he should be strong. He
He has to loosen it first.
has to loosen it and open it up or whatever.
Jeez. And then he has to just like find a way to sit on top of the yeah.
Yeah.
I won't go too much into whether it hurts or not, but
Yeah.
I don't think so. He's mutated in a way where that's just his thing.
Mhm.
I love
You
it.
know,
Sprinkler.
sprinkler.
Yeah, it's cool.
I like it.
Mine was actually the name I had just come up with earlier, but it was Forrester, but that's not great. If you got a name, but basically this person can like look like anything that he touches, like he or she becomes like this, or they become like let's say you put yourself on a tree and you kind of turn into that tree, which is great camouflage and such,
Hmm.
but you're still like the shape of you. So they haven't quite like figured out how to like, it's like you, but you're a tree, you know? If you, and maybe in my mind, this person tried to turn into like a maple leaf. And they got better because they turned into an actual maple leaf, but they were like a huge maple leaf. They were like a big maple leaf, you know?
Oh.
So you'd have to really like blend yourself in a little bit, but pretty good.
Hmm. What's the name for it?
I thought of Forrester just because maybe it's their last name, but it's a little too obvious. But I also like corny, like
Forest.
Forrest. Yeah, I was thinking or Gump.
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 Yeah, it'd
That's
be
a
like a
good
joke.
Good,
Like
Gump's good.
the name would just be Gump, and it's a play on Forrest Gump, and this thing can can mimic Earth and stuff.
Yeah.
So
What about you, Kay?
one. Sorry, I'm logging them down so we don't forget them. Mine, I don't have a name for, but they can manipulate glass. So they break the glass, but then they can like fuse it back together, or they can turn it into like a different form of glass.
I thought of a cool name for it.
What?
Well, like a really strong form of glass is the teardrop of a glass. Like when you're melting glass and you get like the teardrop,
Mm-hmm.
that core of that teardrop once it dries and cools down is extremely strong. And so that'd be really cool if like this character could like coat themselves in that, or if there's glass around, protect themselves. And so like Tear would be a cool name, or Drop.
Yeah.
Temper.
Tear.
What's that?
Temper.
Temper's cool.
Tempered glass.
Oh yeah, that's neat.
That's heat resistant glass.
Yeah.
Temper.
You
Temper.
could change the letters around and call it
Forest Bump.
Anthony Rowe, Forest Bump. That's pretty good.
Stump.
Yeah, Stump's cool. Yeah, for Forrest Stump, yeah, it's pretty good because he's not great at stuff, and that's kind of like, is that it's Stump? Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Maybe he could just his only power, he could turn into a stump, which is pretty good. Nobody's gonna question a stump if there's a stump around. It's just a stump.
That does
That's
work.
true.
So that's cool. Yeah, I like that glass thing, manipulating glass, and can turn it into different structures. Maybe build my own glass castle kind of thing.
Yeah.
You could do all kinds of references with glass too. You go glass slippers, things like that. That's the only thing I can really think of right now. But
windows and mirrors
windows,
and
you
things
got
like
windows.
that.
What are other
mirrors
glass?
are really
Mirrors.
glass. Or
Mirrors
mirrors
are
are glass. Oh,
Mirrors
yeah.
are glass with foil.
Dude, that'd be cool.
If there was another guy that could just do foil,
Yeah, they could team
they
up.
could team up. They could be a tag team,
Yeah.
Batman and Robin, but it would be glass and foil.
Yeah, tin and Tear.
Temper and foil.
Temper and tin.
Temper and tin. That's good. That kind of works.
Tin. That's cool.
All right, kids. It was.
And that's all you got to do to come up with ideas for different things. It's just, throw it up.
We're gonna work on a splash screen and maybe a jingle. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know.
Yeah, that would be cool.
For this new segment.
My Hero Academia, Trey says stuff. Trey, let's see. Oh, Anthony thought of another name too for that dude that blends. Just call him Acorn. That's pretty good. But My Hero Academia. No, I've never. I will watch it. Okay,
Oh, it's a show.
It's a show. Cool.
Oh, yeah.
That might spark some, because also like that way, like we know we're not replicating anything that's already been made. And I'm like, I was talking to a friend who's right to say it, but he's very sick of superheroes, things like that. I can't get enough of them ever. I know like it's oversaturated on cinema, but huge comic book fan, didn't get my fill as a kid. So My Hero Academia. Thank you, Trey, for watching it.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right. Well, plenty more on the horizon, as we mentioned. Thanks for sticking around for our recap, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah.
See you next week.
Abel, Kaylee,
And
me, Connor. Yeah. Thanks for see you, Beans.
See you.
Thanks for
Spill
sticking
the
around.
beans.
Thanks for spilling the beans.
Oh, I
Gotta
gotta
play
play the
the-
jingle.
play the jingle there.
Sorry.
And wrap us up. Another night of the week.
geez.
Go to
I-
be
Start it
more
over.
specific.
Yeah.
Hanging out just another night of the week. Go to be more specific, it's a Tuesday Eve. Got some ideas that just might intrigue. You should come on by tonight. We're spilling the beans. See you, everybody.
Bye, everybody.